Okay, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about a program that's far too often passed up because it's seen as a intro program or like a beginner's program, but actually I find that a lot of pros actually use this for shortcuts, and it's Poser. Right now I'm using Poser 2012, and what we're going to do is do an overview of Poser and its interface and actually how to use it. It can be cumbersome sometimes to be able to move the characters and stuff like that around, but once you get used to it, actually you can pose a character, use it for art, use it for importing your character into Maya or 3D Studio Max or some other program, or even Blender, as an object, because you can export your objects as OBJ or 3ds or Lightwave or anything like that. So Poser actually should be looked at as a viable application to be able to increase the speed of your pipeline or your project, so you don't have to make human figures from scratch unnecessarily. You can bring Poser characters into ZBrush. You can bring them into applications that allow you to texture, and so there's a lot that you can do with Poser. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of quickly go over the interface, and this is kind of what you are presented with Poser 2013. It's a little different with the newer Poser. 2012 is a little different with the newer Poser, and so you see you start off with this. You start off with this body, this Andy character. It says Andy too. I don't know why it says that. Yeah, that's Andy too. But you start off with this character, and on your left-hand side, you'll have these tool palettes, these tabs. So you have rotate, you have twist, you have translate, and so on and so forth. All you have to do is put your mouse up here, and you see the title to these tools. Above that are these tabs that allow you to manipulate your character different ways. So you go into these different setups to be able to manipulate your character. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But for right now, let's go over the immediate interface. To actually be able to move the camera around, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Right here is the camera movement. So I can rotate around the character whichever way. This is kind of like a free form rotate. I can pan in, pan out. I can move up and down on the Z and Y axes. And right here I can change the camera that I'm looking at. Now, even though it starts off with these different cameras separate, you can actually change your view by going to display, going to camera view, and you can change your view up here also. So everything you can do down here is actually available up here. Now, there's difference between how it's previewed and how the style is. So if we go further down, we'll see that we can change how this looks from an outline to a grid, and you can render it out this way. So it's a good idea to kind of fool around with these tabs, try to see what they really are and what they do. And one thing you want to be aware of is that all of these things are not set in stone. They can be moved around. So maybe I want this one on top. I'll just do like that. I can go ahead and alternate those this way. Any way I will like, I can go ahead and do that. I can go ahead and change the lighting by moving this one around, whichever light that's selected, or I can click this little arrow right here, create a light, delete a light, or select a different light, and then move that around. As you can see, I can delete the light, change the color, and my light controls, something like this. I can change the intensity of the light, so on and so forth. Now, one thing I kind of left out over here, which I really don't want to do that, are a few little buttons that you see around here. The fly around, that's obvious. That's the fly around view. So you quickly go to this fly around view, and if you move your mouse around, it'll do this little fly around. All I got to do is keep going to the left, or I can just keep going to the right. It doesn't matter. It'll keep on turning without any concerns with the edge of the monitor. So I can turn that fly around view off. It'll automatically send me back to my main view. And this right here is animate of the camera that's selected, whichever camera that's selected. So now what we're going to do is, before we get to that, because I don't want to go down here yet, I want to start talking about these other kind of tools here. We have this scaling tool. Now the scene is not scaling, it's actually the camera. Okay, so don't think your character is getting smaller. That's what I want to make sure you understand that. And then the focal length, obviously, that will change focal length of the camera. And all these are just camera settings. The roll. And over here you're going to have where whatever I have selected, I will select this chess, and then I will click this, and what it's trying to do is it's trying to frame whatever I have selected. I had to pull out a little bit in order for me to see it. I kind of figured it was too close.